Local, trusted. This is News 3 at 6 on KBTX.
We are learning new details about a porch pirate suspect accused of stealing from homes in Bryan and College Station. We first told you about Jonathan Russell's arrest the day after Christmas. He's still in jail facing charges for theft, burglary of a habitation, and evading arrest. Home surveillance cameras are believed to have caught Russell in the act. Bryan police say in new arrest documents, Russell stole almost $300 worth of customized aluminum bottles that were ordered as Christmas gifts from a front porch on Holly Drive. Investigators say Russell returned the items after security video of him was shared on social media. The victim still wanted to press charges in that case. His bond is set at $72,000. Highway 6 in McLennan County was shut down this afternoon after a DPS trooper's vehicle was hit. The accident happened just north of Riesel. Officials say a driver slammed into the back of the DPS trooper's SUV while he was working a two-vehicle accident along Highway 6. The trooper was outside the vehicle when the crash happened and is okay, according to law enforcement. Southbound lanes of the highway were closed for several hours this afternoon. The trooper wasn't injured and the people in the other two cars weren't hurt either. DPS says this is a perfect example of why you should always slow down and move over for emergency vehicles. People took to the streets across the U.S. to hold anti-war protests following the drone attack that killed Iran's top general. Thousands turned out in Baghdad and Tehran to mourn the general's death as his funeral procession began today in Iraq. Natalie Brand has the latest from Washington.
Thousands of mourners gathered in Tehran Saturday, burning U.S. and Israeli flags, chanting anti-American slogans, and calling for revenge for the death of top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani.
We say no more!
Around the U.S., anti-war protesters rallied coast to coast. In Washington, D.C., actress Jane Fonda spoke out across from the White House.
The younger people here should know that all of the wars that have been fought since you've been born have been fought over oil.
President Trump ordered the drone strike Thursday that killed Soleimani at the Baghdad International Airport. The president says Iran's top intelligence and military strategist was plotting imminent and sinister attacks on American diplomats and military personnel.
Under my leadership, America's policy is unambiguous to terrorists who harm or intend to harm any American. We will find you. We will eliminate you.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says Soleimani was planning attacks that would kill a significant number of Americans, but declined to provide further details about the threat.
The decision that President Trump made to take Qasem Soleimani down saved American lives.
While a number of Republican lawmakers applaud the decision, many Democrats say Congress should have been alerted.
The operation against Soleimani in Iraq was conducted, however, without specific authorization and any advance notification or consultation with Congress.
On Saturday, additional reinforcement troops prepared for deployment from the Army's 82nd Airborne Division at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Today, the White House sent formal notification under the War Powers Act of the drone strike that killed the general. Well, in Australia, deadly wildfires continue to burn with no end in sight. The fires have burned more than 12 million acres. Thousands of people have been evacuated, with a death toll now at 23. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison has called up about 3,000 reservists as the threat of wildfires has escalated in at least 3 states. The United States is helping Australia battle the deadly fires. French prosecutors say a knife attack yesterday that left 1 man dead and 2 women injured in a park in the Paris area is being treated as terror-related. In a statement, they said investigations over the past few hours revealed that the assailant, who was shot dead by police, had been radicalized and had prepared the attacks in a suburb of Paris. Well, still ahead, Erica Page has your complete weather forecast for the weekend. Plus, 2019 presented a unique set of challenges for Central Texas farmers. We're getting to look back and from the ground up.
It's all about people, it's all about home. Working together, loving our own. From country roads to our city streets, it's the neighbors we love and the new ones we meet. KBTX, the very best we can give. We're here where you need us, here where you live. News 3, this is your news.
You're watching News 3 at 6 on KBTX.
Most people in agriculture will tell you every year has different challenges, and that carried on into 2019. Most old-timers we talked to couldn't remember a year that started so wet. Shel Winkley has more in this week's From the Ground Up.
We've got 2,500 acres of farmland. We may have 300 of that that's been shredded and plowed. We have absolutely no rows up to start with. No fertilizer out, no herbicides out. Anything we would have had done typically in the fall has not been done. I don't know what our game plan will really be because we've never been in this situation.
This year it's been cow's calving, she's having problems, she's stuck in the mud. I can't get to her, I can't get a truck to her, I can't get feed to them, I can't put out hay. I can't feed cubes because they've got to have floats on them to be able to even be fed.
The continuous rains that carried over from the fall into the spring hampered both ranchers and farmers. It was too late to plant as much corn as John Malazzo had planned, and some corn that was planted in lower ends of fields stood in water.
The water doesn't have to be over the top of the crop for the crop to drown. If it covers the ground, the water covers the ground, your roots are not getting any oxygen. And it just literally starves to death. That's why I think you see some of this corn that matured out at a very short height.
There was a 3 or 4 day window of opportunity to plant a little cotton, but then it began raining again. Most cotton was probably 45 days late.
Seemed like there were about 3 or 4 Wednesdays in a row where we got 3.5 inches, and it was during planting season. So we had a very delayed planting season.
Once it dried out a little and crops were finally planted, pastures greened up for ranchers, and farmers managed to escape any untimely rains during harvest.
We're thankful, even though it is almost Thanksgiving, very late for harvest. I feel like we have a lot to be thankful for.
I'm Shel Winkley, looking at Central Texas agriculture from the ground up.
From the Ground Up is sponsored by Producers Cooperative, proudly serving agriculture since 1943.
Whole milk, lean kids, a surprising finding about what young kids should be drinking, and the latest in the fight against underage vaping. Hillary Lane has some of the week's top health stories.
Federal regulators have taken steps to curb the growing popularity of vaping among young people. On Thursday, the Food and Drug Administration announced plans to ban most flavored e-cigarette cartridges. Tobacco and menthol flavors are exempt from the new rules, as are vaping products that don't use cartridges. Meanwhile, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, there were over 2,500 confirmed cases of vaping-related lung injuries in the U.S. in 2019. At least 55 people have died. The CDC says the number of new cases has declined since reaching a peak in September. And new research finds children who drink whole milk are less likely to become overweight or obese. That's the finding of Canadian researchers who analyzed 28 studies. Their results challenge current pediatric guidelines, which say children should drink reduced-fat milk starting at age 2, especially if they have a higher risk of obesity. Those are some of the week's top health stories. Hillary Lane, CBS News.
Well, if you enjoyed this beautiful weather that we had today, you're really going to love the second half of the weekend. But we are watching some changes that head our way as we head into early next week. We'll get you a full look at that forecast right on the other side of this break.
News 3 weather from the Pinpoint Forecast team is sponsored by First Financial Bank. Local bankers putting you first. And now, local weather.
We are continuing to work high pressure back into the Brazos Valley, and generally speaking, it keeps things very clear. We've got the sunshine on hand during the day, and then at night, those temperatures really cool off quickly. That's going to be the pattern as we head into the next several days. We've got an area of low pressure, sits off towards our west. That's going to bring us a cold front, but really not looking at any rain chances, and this is why. You'll notice dew points as we head towards Sunday evening, sitting into the low 40s. Will translate into Monday. We bump up to about the mid 40s at best. That's really not a lot of moisture to work in to tap into some of those better rain chances. You'll see where that moisture is really confined down towards the Gulf Coast, and generally speaking, I think that's where most of the rain is going to stay. So the first cold front that rolls through early this next week, not bringing any rain chances back to the Brazos Valley. And in fact, we stay dry as we head towards about the middle part of the week. Then by Thursday and Friday, there's another cold front that's set to roll back in, and that does look to bring back some better chances for rain, maybe even a few thunderstorms as we look ahead towards Friday and even into Saturday. Now, there's still plenty of details to work out with this next system, but right now, at least both models are in good consensus that a few of us could try and pick up a couple tenths of an inch, maybe even closer to about a half inch of rain as we look towards next weekend. It's rain that we desperately need. You see some of these orange boxes or orange bubbles, I guess I should say. That's where severe drought has started to take back over here across the Brazos Valley. And again, that's why we just need to see some more of this rain trying to work back in. Your next weather maker, the one that does look to bring us some of those better chances for rain, still sits out across Asia, over 5,000 miles away. So until then, we'll see some varying weather, but mostly we'll see these winds trying to translate back out of the south. That's what helps to bring in the better moisture out ahead of our next cold front, but it will be breezy. Keep in mind, Thursday as well as into your Friday, winds are likely going to be gusting closer to about 30 miles per hour. So got any of those loose lawn items, may not be a bad idea to kind of bring them in or put them closer to the house. Then as we head into Saturday, you'll notice those winds back out of the north. Not quite as chilly though, even though it will be breezy, because watch what happens with your temperatures. We're into the 70s the next couple of days. It's going to be mild and beautiful. And then as we really head towards the beginning part of this next week, we barely dip towards average. Tuesday, temperatures are forecast to be a high of 60 degrees, and then we're climbing right back up as we head towards Thursday, as well as Friday, with those temperatures back up into the mid 70s. So we'll continue to watch it, but overall, it is going to be a very mild start to the first full week of January as we look ahead. There's the sunset out there. You can see that beautiful orange glow out on the horizon. Temperature wise, we have started to fall quickly, again, because we've got some of those clear skies on hand. Temperatures sit at 62 degrees in College Station. We're at 59 in Bryan. Winds are calm. It will be a beautiful night if you've got any of those plans outdoors. Other spots across the Brazos Valley, 55 up in Madisonville, 58 down in Navasota, 60 for you folks out in Caldwell. So again, it is going to be a little bit chillier. Any evening plans, may want to have the jacket with you. Temperature wise, as we head towards about 9 o'clock, most of us sitting into the low 50s, and then by 11, it's the upper 40s for most of us, and we won't drop too much further. I do think some low 40s across our northern counties will be possible as we head into the overnight hours tonight. Overall though, tomorrow it is going to be beautiful. Plenty of sunshine from start to finish, and temperature wise, it's going to look a lot like today. We're headed back for the mid 70s or low 70s for most of us as we head into your afternoon hours. I think mostly across some of our eastern counties. Then as we look ahead for the next couple of days, it's sunshine. Sunshine on Sunday, but Monday may have a few of those clouds trying to work back in. Again, that's what that next cold front trying to roll on through. But then as we translate into your Thursday, sunshine comes back to the picture, temperatures into the 60s, and then it's the wind, the rain that we will have to be monitoring for as we head towards Thursday as well as Friday. And that's our next big cold front that we're watching. But until then, the weather pattern really is going to be great for any of those outdoor plans that you may have as we head into the second half of the weekend.
Really beautiful weekend weather to go for a run and to wash the car. Those are a couple of things I did today, and the car wash line was packed. People enjoying that sunny weather. And
if you didn't get it done today, tomorrow looks
Sunday
to be a good
looks
day too.
pretty bright and promising too. Thanks very much, Erica. Well, coming up in sports, we will check in on the Aggie men's basketball team, who's opening up conference play tonight against Arkansas. Plus, we'll let you know if former Sam Houston State head coach Willie Fritz could lead Tulane to a bowl win. Tyler has those stories and more next.
Sports is sponsored by Allen Honda, corner of Southwest Parkway and Highway 6. Allen's got your Honda. From the KBTX Sports Center, News 3 Sports starts now.
The calendar has turned to 2020, and the Texas A&M men's basketball schedule has turned to conference play. Tonight, the Aggies are on the road in Fayetteville for their SEC opener against Arkansas. This game tipped off about 20 minutes ago. In the first half, the Aggies are down 15-14. We'll have highlights from that one for you tonight at 10. Meanwhile, the 11th-ranked Texas A&M women's basketball team opened up SEC play on Thursday with the win over number 20 Arkansas in Fayetteville. Kennedy Carter led all scorers in the game with 28 points. Nedaea Jones and Sierra Johnson both had double-doubles. The Aggies will return to action Monday night to face Ole Miss at Reed Arena. Tip-off is scheduled for 6 o'clock. The Sam Houston State women were looking to move to 4-0 in Southland Conference play today with a win over Nichols. Third quarter, Courtney Cleveland finds Faith Cook, and she's able to knock down the three. That puts the Bearcats up by 16, rolling 55-39. Into the fourth, Nichols cutting into that lead. Tykeria Williams hits the triple, makes it 64-55. Bearcats continue to add to the lead. Jalen Walker out of Calvert off the rebound, makes a nice move, pulls up, hits the jumper. That makes it a 9-point game, and Sam Houston goes on to win this one 87-71. The Bearcat men also on the floor in a doubleheader today, taking on Nichols at the half. The Cats trail Nichols 35-29. Now it's wild card weekend in the NFL. Texans at home today facing Buffalo in the opening round of the playoffs. Houston came storming back in the second half. They lead 19-16 with 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Meanwhile, Aggie Ryan Tannehill and the Tennessee Titans are on the road to face the Patriots. You can watch that game right here on KBTX. Kickoff is scheduled for 7:15. Pre-game coverage starts after this newscast. Just one college football game on the schedule today as Southern Miss and Tulane met the Armed Forces Bowl in Fort Worth. The Green Wave, led by former Sam Houston State head coach Willie Fritz. Tulane was down 13-6 at the half, but things turned in the third quarter. Justin McMillan hooks up with Jalen Mikelski for a 52-yard touchdown pass that ties the game up at 13. The Green Wave kicked a field goal to take their first lead of the game and add to that advantage on a McMillan 7-yard TD toss to Jacob Robertson. Tulane now up 23-13. McMillan going back to the air. This time he finds a wide open Amari Jones in the end zone. That's a 20-yard touchdown pass that caps off a 24-point third quarter for Tulane. The Green Wave beat Southern Miss 30-13. That's the first time ever Tulane has won bowl games in back-to-back seasons.
Lots of bowl games and finally kind of winding down after a big flurry over New Year's Eve, New Year's Day.
Right. The meat of it's all over, and now it's just kind of that wait for the championship game in a couple weeks.
Lots of fun basketball, too. We'll see how everybody does tonight at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you very much, Tyler. Let's take a live eye look outside. We'll be right back after the break. Here's a beautiful look at Texas A&M.
Just a little glow left on the horizon, but skies are clear, so that does mean your temperature is going to be falling pretty quickly. Most of us already sitting into the low 60s, if not the upper 50s, but winds are calm, so if you've got to be out, maybe a light jacket, a sweater is about all you're going to need. Temperatures will be steadily falling into the 50s as we continue on into the rest of tonight, and then I think once we get towards about 11, 12 o'clock in the morning, we will probably start to see a few more 40s trying to slip in. Lower 40s across our northern counties is what I think is going to be possible. The rest of us sitting into the mid 40s. Notice winds are back out of the south. That will keep us just a touch warmer than where we sat last night, but otherwise for your afternoon on Sunday, it's going to look a lot like today. Just factor in a little bit more of a breeze out there. Winds out of the southwest, 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting at times closer to about 25. So just keep in mind, it will be breezy even though it will be beautiful. Then by Monday, we've got that first cold front that comes on through. Really no chances for rain with that one, but we will be watching for rain chances to be increasing as we look ahead towards Thursday and Friday with our second stronger cold front trying to enter the area and take us back out of the mid 70s and into the 60s by next weekend.
Take some rain toward the end of the week. Things getting a little bit dry out there in part of Brazos Valley. So thank you very much, Erica. That's our report for now. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you back here tonight at 10.